Dress up for a tour of our workspace. Okay, boss. I work in a data center and obviously every day presents itself with something new. Sit at desk all day sometimes, yep. Crawl across ladder racks running fiber next day, yep. Therefore, you dress for comfort and any situation, which is generally jeans, t-shirt, sneakers, and for me a fleece jacket because it's cold as balls. Many years back, our boss informs us that his boss and a few other VPs are coming in for a tour and we need to be dressed up. His boss is new to him and he wants us to make a good impression, but when we ask for clarification, he didn't have an answer, just look nice. Cue malicious compliance. There were only 5 of us working in this location and 3 of the 4 guys had tuxedos, the other one, a nice suit. I had a great floor-length formal gown. So on the day in question, we arrived earlier than usual in our spiffier studs. When our boss arrived, he straight panicked. He was convinced that this would not go over well. We calmly explained that he's the one that told us to dress up and we had. Plus, there was no time for us to change before the tour's going to arrive. A few minutes later his boss rolls up and the 5 of us, plus our boss are in the front lobby to greet him. Our boss is terrified. He came through the door, took one look and almost fell over. I've never seen anyone laugh so hard in my life. He insisted on taking pictures of and with us and said it was the best thing he'd seen in a long time. Our boss of course then switched gears and acted like he'd been in on it and thought we were hilarious too. Okay. Our photo made the second level's wall and even went out during a team meeting a few weeks later. It's still one of my favorite work memories. Our boss was much more succinct going forward when he wanted us to dress up. Now to the comments. I worked at a Silicon Valley startup that had a Halloween dress-up tradition. The new CEO who was hired to save the place was not aware of this. He chose that day to schedule a company tour from a potential investor, a large Japanese company. The Japanese visitors were so confused when they showed up and the receptionist behind the front desk was wearing a gorilla suit. They completely freaked out when Red Bob, who worked in IT, walked through the lobby in full scuba gear, walking backwards as one does when wearing swim fin. In the end, though, we did get that investment. Please tell me that absolutely no one explained Halloween to them, and they decided to invest anyway. Please. I lived in Japan for almost 4 years. They definitely know about Halloween and dressing up, but not dressing up at work. They were probably super confused as you would do that in a work setting. I have the anti-version of this story. I opened the door to the lab and walked in, only to see the company boss showing around some other bigwigs. All were dressed in suits and ties. I was wearing a t-shirt and shorts and flip-flops. It was a hot day after all. The boss saw me and shot daggers with his eyes, so I suddenly realized I'd forgotten something at my desk and left the room. I work on a large university campus and we have health and safety walk through every once in a while and report people who aren't wearing lab coats / closed-toed shoes / etc. in lab spaces. One of my favorite things I've seen at work was when one inspector walked through the open floor lab space toward the back, and when he walked back 2 minutes later, everyone he had passed was still busy doing whatever they were doing but suddenly in lab coats that definitely weren't there. No one acknowledged him or even looked up from their work. Okay, honestly it never occurred to me that lab coats actually served a purpose other than being part of a visual uniform. I guess they protect your clothing in the event of some kind of spill. I don't know why this never clicked in my brain. This is awesome. I expected you and your co-workers to have dressed up like superheroes, the village people, Civil War reenactors. That could have become a fun tradition. OP replied, the village people would have been amazing. You see, I own Renaissance outfits. You want dressed up and aren't giving me restrictions? Full court it is. Corsets, very gaudy expensive jewelry, hoops skirt. I love this stuff. At my past company I would visit other offices and one year in the Phoenix area I wore Birkenstocks in the middle of summer. Well, one SVP took issue to that. So when he found out I was visiting again an email was sent company-wide to respect office dress codes. The head of HR did let me in. It was because of my shoe selection last time. Okay, I can comply. For my next visit I was there in a full suit. Black shoes with a mirror shine, smart tie. 104F outside. When getting to the office I did my walk around to say hi, lots of laughs and making sure I visited the SVP office to say hello. He was not amused. But I was. My next visit I was planning to get a tux, but luckily enough the SVP left the company, so my reason for stepping up the dress code was done with. Funny enough, when the SVP left, the dress code for the office went out the door and people started wearing sneakers again, jeans, etc. I spent a number of years as corporate compliance and internal audit, and this typically came with bosses that expected us to dress like professional. Nothing sticks out more like a sore thumb and makes you look like an outsider than wearing nice clothes for walkthroughs of warehouses, production buildings and engineering offices. The executives always seem a little ignorant to the fact that while they respect the dress code of their office setting, it does not work that way with the base level employee. I always felt it created an extra barrier to move past when trying to get employees to be honest with us. I used to do 401k presentations for our blue-collar line workers. When I first started, they were having the plan's investment advisor tend to answer question, but no one would ask any because he looked like a tool in his three-piece suit when everyone else was in jeans and sneakers. I kept trying to get him to dress down a bit to put people at ease, but after 2 years he was at rock bottom with slacks, tie, and sports coat, so I uninvited. Guy was great with investments but clearly came from money and had no idea how to relate to anyone below executive level. This is great. Was a data center tech for many years. The fleece jacket really struck a nerve. I worked in a DC in a hospital in Phoenix one summer. They had industrial jet-powered AC in there. It must have been 50 degrees, and we all had sweaters and coats on. We'd go out for lunch and it was 110 degrees outside. It was like walking into an oven. You had to open the car door with a towel and let it air out for a few minutes before you could even get in it. OP replied, "We're in Texas, so I'm right there with you. I usually get up twice a day to go walk around the building outside so that I can warm up my bones. Our danged house is like that because there's something wrong with the central air, or insulation. Cold as a meat locker on the first floor and hot as balls on the second. Gotta keep the AC running almost all day long to keep the second floor at a reasonable mid-80s temp up there. I wear a sweatshirt on the first floor and chuck it when I go upstairs. I go outside to warm up, too. Did exactly this. I work at an IT help desk and once was told a client would visit the next day, and that I should dress nicer than my usual standard. Wore a sweet suit the next day. Was told the next day the client and managers felt uncomfortable and underdressed around me that day. I'm called Agent 47 at the office now because I'm bald, had a dark suit with a white shirt and a blood red tie. This is bloody awesome. I work in IT for a manufacturing company, so my normal attire is jeans and a polo with sneakers, or steel toes if needed. Once a year we get called into home base for a big get-together and we're instructed to wear business casual. Our boss just tells us no jeans, no sneakers. That's my whole closet, man. I have to dust off a pair of khakis and knock the cat toys out of my dress shoes for our annual meeting, but at least I don't work at the headquarters location, not even in the same state, so I don't have to do it very often. This is amazing, and I want to see the photo. This is so funny cause I normally work at the corporate headquarters, so I wear normal office clothes. When I have to travel and visit data centers I wear a polo, jeans and comfortable shoes, so that I fit in with them. I'd be really surprised if I saw anyone there dressed up, especially like your team did, lol. I told a news employer that I charged a $5 fee each day I was required to wear a tie to the office. It was a small company that had cash flow issues, but everyone was super nice. One day 8 to 9 months later the boss comes up to me and says we have this very important event next week and I need everyone looking their most professional. How do you want the $5? Cash? Paycheck? I looked him square in the eye and said, since this is the first request, I'll waive the fee this time. I never would have charged him, he was a good boss and a good person. I'm glad my job's dress code is very strict and simple: work shoes, jeans, without holes, and company shirt and or sweat. No headwear, no jewelry, no accessory, for safety reasons. The only thing you can be creative with is your hair, and I'm planning to do just that, as long as it doesn't get in the way, of course. Give yourself anime hair. Doesn't suit me, I tried, but I'm going to try every color hair dye I currently have. And I'm going to ask my hairdresser to shave even more, currently have a small part shaved, which is easy to hide, and give me a nice, short hairstyle.